When you have a bakery, you're going to open up a bakery, and is it going to be retail or wholesale? Or both? So retail, like people walk in and they're like, hey, I want a loaf of bread, or wholesale, like you're selling it to a grocery store. I want 150 of those. Retail. Okay. So you, from a sales point of view, sell is, we're going to take this a wide gamut, right? So you have to sell the person that comes into your bakery to buy something, right? They come in for 1 loaf of bread. You want them to get 2 loaves of bread, or maybe 5 loaves of bread and hand them out to friends, right? Or a loaf of bread, and you want them to buy as much as possible, right? Because you want your individual transactions to be higher. For yoga, you want them to buy lots of classes instead of just coming once and then see you later. Or maybe buy t-shirts or mats or whatever it is you sell. Is that safe? Yeah. So that's why when you go into hair places, they have all their retail stuff. And for you, you want whoever you're selling to, I guess contractor is pretty broad. So
database work.
Database work. Okay. So soft programming?
Yeah.
Stuff like that? Okay. So you want as much as you can. So you are going to have to do some selling. Is that safe to say? You're going to have to do some selling. Everybody's going to have to do some selling. Is that safe to say? So, I got a book called Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion. It's a great book. I'm going to pause for a second and just say, does anybody have any bad connotations about salespeople right now?
I used to.
Okay.
I've definitely changed a lot of those viewpoints, which came from like growing up in
Fair.
family stuff. Yeah. But
Sure.
It's definitely changed a lot because we're selling ourselves all the time, even if we're not selling.
Totally. So how about you? Bad connotations, good connotations about salespeople? If your kid says, Dad, I just got a sales job, are you like, yeah? No?
But I know that sales, they do make money if you're in the right field.
Right?
That's something that people want to buy.
Right? So how about you? Sales?
I love sales.
All right.
I think if you're being honest and you care about what you're selling, it's awesome. If you're
Perfect.
being slimy, that's not cool, but that's not just sales.
Great. Totally. So everyone here, if you have to talk to a bank, you're in sales. If you have to talk to employees, you're in sales. You have to talk to a landlord, you're in sales. If you have to talk to customers at all, you're in sales. Because you have something that you want them to do, you know that they need to do, and you have to essentially influence them to do it. Is that fair? All right. So essentially, we got the sales portion of day-to-day stuff taken care of. So read that book. There's tons of other books on top of that one. This is the best one that I've read so far that has, that's not really a script or a process, like a sales process. It just goes through the individual ways that you can influence people and that you have been influenced in the past. He's got some things in there he's talking about where he gets a little frustrated figuring out that he got suckered a couple times. And after reading it, I figured out that I got suckered a couple times. I bought my car, and I was, it was 0% interest, right? And I was like, yay, whatever. So then you're going to buy the car, you're going to pick up the car, and you got to talk to the finance guy. And they're like, hey, do you want to get these little add-ons that eventually ended up to like double the monthly payment? And hey, it's just $50 more a month, whatever, right? My oil changes are taken care of. Hey, you want this rust protection? It's just $20 more a month. Just check the box, right? And I'm paying like $450 a month for this little Kia. And I'm like, wait a second. And then they mentioned something essentially like that in this influence book. And I'm like, oh, I got suckered. And my oil changes are taken care of, right? Whatever. The other thing is, at the end, when you want to close up shop, you just want to go home. You want to retire. Maybe you want to start a different business. Whatever it is, how are you going to get rid of yours? Just going to lock the door, shut off the lights, and go home? You're going to sell it to another person that does what you do? Are you going to sell it to, like what I did with my business? I sold it to a company that was bigger than mine doing pretty close to the same thing. You want to essentially have or figure out what your exit strategy is. And you want to keep two things in mind. One, what are you going to do with that money when you get it? Is this a retirement plan, or is this just hey, it was a good investment, we tried? Selling point of view, when do you want to sell it? So is this like 30 years from now, I'm going to sell my bakery? That means you're going to be in the bakery business for 30 years? Maybe you're cool with that, maybe not. Maybe you're cool with that now, but 10 years in, you're like, okay, we're closing. We're selling. So I'll give you a little story. When I started my business, I had Doc Jams Printer Repair. I started my business, I didn't know that there's a thing such as exit strategy. I was just like, you start a business, you fix some printers, you make some money. Rinse, repeat. Right? And I had an employee quit on me, and I was like, there's more to life than this. This is just a huge pain. Why am I going through all this? And then I thought, well, what do I have for options, right? You can close up shop. No one would care. I could try to sell it. I would care. That would be good. Or you can just try to just give it away to someone, right? Here's my customer base. Have fun with it, right? So if I would have had an exit strategy in mind sooner, I could have put more stuff in place sooner to increase the value. Now, I had about 6 months that I gave myself to get stuff in place, which helped dramatically. But if you were, let's just say essentially you're programming, right? Let's just say you get hit by a bus, you break your left hand. Can't use it again. Let's just say it gets cut off. Now you got only your right hand to program. Is that a bad day?
Very bad.
That's a very bad day. So then you're like, hey, where was I at with that exit strategy? Right? You just want to have stuff prepared. Or let's just say your wife's like, hey, I'm pregnant. Right? Or hey, let's move to Thailand or something like that. Right? Whatever it is, let's just insert reason to sell your business here that may not be retirement. Is that safe to keep that in mind? Now, none of that you write down is set in stone, right? You can have a plan, and then 2 years later, maybe that plan changes. Your business is all of a sudden worth $5 million. Maybe that's different. Or you have enough employees that you're bringing in money without you necessarily needing to be there. Why do you need to sell? You essentially, boom, right? Beautiful. I like it. So essentially, you want to keep that in mind, write it down, have a plan, but know that you can change that plan at any time. Fair?